get off my chest for a while is aggressive play, specifically on CT side, and the whole purpose of trading kills and forcing enemies to commit, where you can start incorporating all these things such as crossfires, trade kills, pop flashes, those kinds of setups. So I guess the first thing I'm going to do is just go to like an overview, a map overview. And I just want to talk about like the philosophy of a counter-terrorist. You'll hear a map CT-sided. Why is a map CT-sided? People, there needs to be a reason why a map is CT-sided. And generally speaking, a map is CT-sided because, well, you're playing with these choke points. This choke point at Banana, for example, on Inferno, or the choke points over at lane side of A or arch side of A. Like, these are all choke points that the terrorists have to come through. So because the terrorists have to push through to get to the bomb sites here behind these choke points, it means that the CTs have a lot of advantages to play with. They have all these angles that they can play. For example, at B, they can play from Emo, they could be Tri-Box, they could be second oranges, first oranges, in the fountain, on the spools behind it, in spawn, in the little ninja spot, or they could be aggressive, holding a choke point here, further down Banana, or down here even, where they could play from car, they can play sandbags, they could play the wagon, they could play pushed up and get this crossfire if they get a player down logs or under the pillars. There's so many places that they can play from. Again, top mid is a choke point as well. You can get a crossfire on top mid, you can play arch side and two people lane side. You can play setups like that. So over at A bomb site, you have pit, you can play a guy in pit there, under the truck, on the balcony. You can play a guy in graveyard, in the site behind default box, in the site behind this box, in the site behind headshot box, a guy in moto, a guy somewhere at this part of pit. You can have two people in pit, you can have a guy in the halls. There's so many things that you can set up with as counter-terrorists on this map. It looks like I've just drawn all over the place. This is how many angles the counter-terrorist can play from on this map. So what happens is a terrorist who wants to push into the A-bomb site and take control of the A-bomb site needs to make it through this choke point here at middle, up through arch side, or up through lane side, or out through apartments. These are the options to get to the A-bomb site. Choke point after choke point. This is a choke, this is a choke, this is a choke, this is a choke. So what happens is a lot of CT teams who will actually, they'll either have a man advantage in the sense that they'll get a pick off early. Maybe they have an opper who's at the start of the round comes to mid and then peeks down mid and gets a kill on a terrorist who's coming up T stairs. Boom, 5-on-4. What do the counter terrorists do? They still play their setup. One arch side, one port side, one pit. One spawn at B and one somewhere in site like this. Nobody's playing off of each other at all. And when you do this, it's just like you're giving these engagements to the terrorists. A terrorist can walk up mid to this point and he can isolate. He can fight this guy at arch side because this arch side guy is peeking him, okay? Or he can walk up the opposite side of mid and peek towards this lane side of mid because, again, this guy is just peeking him. When you're giving away these aim duels where you're basically saying, hey, I can only be in this one location, come and fight me, it allows the terrorist to just get in this fight with you, and it gives him an opportunity to actually get a kill on you without a teammate responding. So if your teammate's over here at arch side, he can't kill a terrorist because the terrorist is protected by this wall over here. Okay, this wall here is going to protect the terrorist. He cannot get the angle on him. You cannot get the trade kill. So if you're losing lots of rounds because you're losing the aim duels, it's what people call by losing aim duels. If you're a counter-terrorist team and you're losing aim duels, what you want to do, and this could be because the other team has better aimers than you, what you do is you stop playing the aim duels, you stop trying to commit to fights, and you just need to start playing passively. And you need to learn how to play passively. Sometimes there are players that are just way too over-aggressive all the time, and that's the only thing they know how to do. And sometimes it fucks them, because if you're playing over-aggressive and the terrorist team is really good with teamwork and baits you out of position and isolates you and kills you and gets the trade kill on you, and you get 1 kill at most and before you die, that's not good for your team if you're a counter-terrorist. What you want to start doing is you want to force the terrorists to come out into the open, right up lane side, and when they're in this location here is when you're going to start fighting them, okay? And the reason why you want to fight them when they're here, or if they wrap around Arch, for example, and they get to this location, is because 2 reasons. One, if they're in this location here, if they want to get back to safety, safety is behind this wall, anywhere behind this wall, going this way, okay? If they're up here, they have to fall all the way back behind this wall to get to safety. That's one thing. Another thing is, players can play from anywhere in pit or balcony and kill anyone who's at this location here, okay? All CTs in this area, and this area can now all see the terrorist in this little box area. So what you want to do is you want to bait the terrorists up to commit to the site. They need to commit all the way in. If they want to kill any one of you, they need to push up all the way to this area where they can get shot from 3 main areas, but multiple like mini angles within those areas. So if I join terrorist side right now, restart the round and join T side, okay, and I'm a terrorist. I'm working up to the A bomb site right now. I'm up lane side. Once I'm in this location here, I have to worry about people peeking me from here, here, here. At the same time, they could be in the pit, they could be in graveyard just at this angle here, just waiting to pop their head up like this. They could be on the balcony, up at this location here, waiting to peek out like this. Like, there's so many angles that they can be playing from that it makes it so much harder for me to actually get a kill. That's why, like, the first person in is usually sacrificed. That's why if you're a terrorist, you need to do smokes and isolate off an area. So the terrorists usually will smoke off the truck in the pit, not worry about pit side, so they can focus on the site. But the problem is, there's still so much in the site to worry about. They could be in this corner, and if you push up the site steps, now you can get shot from library, from moto, from the site, from graveyard, from default box over here, from that corner that you're actually checking, from behind the site, from up here. Like, there's still so many spots, and any cracks in the smoke, and anyone who's up on the balcony. So there's still so many spots for you to clear if you come in through this way. So people like to wrap around the site. Again, you need to have a smoke for moto as well as for pit, and you're gonna come this way and wrap the site. Again, cracks in the smoke, graveyard, balcony, site in various positions, either at the dark door, dark corner, headshot angle, someone who's in front of the moto smoke, someone who's behind default box. There are so many angles that counter-terrorists can play in this bomb site that a terrorist who's actually committing to get a kill on A needs to be committing his entire life to it. So if I go back to spectate just for an overview, a full map overview, that's what you want to do as a counter-terrorist. You want to force the terrorist to be coming up completely exposed where you can get crossfires. So crossfire can be from pit and from site, both at the same time. Now a terrorist who's in this location needs to look left and needs to look right, both at the same time. It's a 180 degrees angle. That doesn't look like that. Same thing at banana. I mean, banana, this choke point's good, but if you're walking up as a terrorist and let's say you post a guy on CT spawn at this angle, and you start walking up guys to look in the site and clear out angle by angle by angle, what can you do? But if you draw the terrorists, and especially if they're on ecos, or sorry, if let's say if you're on eco, you have people stacked on the banana bomb site. You guys have like P250s, USPs, P2000s, and 5.7s. What you want to do is you want to draw the terrorists to come all the way in to this point here and beyond. So they're sitting over here, but beyond that, they're actually coming into the site. They need to clear the site if they want to get the bomb plant, right? If they want to come, ultimately the terrorist needs to plant the bomb. And the bomb plant, well, the entire bomb site is this location here. But ideally, they want to get the bomb planted on the barbecue, right? So what they want to do is, to get to the barbecue, they need to either plant the bomb exposed, and in which case you can kill them from one of various locations, or 2, they actually need to push into the bomb site to clear all the spots. So what you do as a counter-terrorist, you play a guy at the oranges, you play a guy tri-box, you play a guy at emo, you play a guy at spools. And what happens is, as soon as this guy in this position here at oranges starts shooting, that means that the terrorists are up far enough that all the counter-terrorists in these positions can now peek out and fight all the terrorists who are actually committed to the bomb site. That's what's so powerful about playing a passive setup, is that you bait the terrorists to come into the actual bomb site, commit their lives, and then you just ambush them from like 3 different angles all at the same time. It's just ambushing them, baiting them out into an open area where they have no cover, no places to hide, and you ambush them from multiple angles. That's how you're going to have your greatest success as a counter-terrorist team. If you're against people that can out-aim you, just simply out-aiming you. So what you need to do as a terrorist, if the counter-terrorists don't give you the aim duels, you need to isolate as many people as possible. And you need to scout, and you need information. You need to know where exactly the counter-terrorists are playing and what weapons they're using. Okay, that's called gathering information. And there's multiple ways that you can gather information, but mainly you'll understand where people play based off of patterns, based off watching demos and knowing how certain players play, just because, you know, it's different if you're playing in a pro league level where you're playing against the same opponents week in, week out. You know exactly how people play. I can tell you right now, Shroud, for example, just always plays pit here. Dust 2, he's always playing pit on Dust 2. Like, they're always playing these certain spots and they never change positions. Ever. Okay? I know this against the people I play against. So I can just say, listen, I know Shroud's going to be there. We can do this strat and we can isolate him by smoking him off here and then just running into the bomb site. We know that. But for other teams that you don't know this, you need to gather information by listening to footsteps, trying to throw like a fake strat and listen for footsteps, try to like peek and prod a little bit from over here just to see if any CTs are peeking you or peeking out at you, trying to get their own information. But basically, CTs need to learn, if you're losing aim duels, play passive, play defensive, and use the map dynamic and structure and just how the map is laid out to your advantage, okay? Use the map to your advantage. It's a CT-sided map because you've got these strong choke points to work with. Simple. Hope that helps. Is there any specific question anyone has? CT side rotations? Usually it's quite simple. Like
CT side rotations.
Usually what you do if you're a counter terrorist, a lot of the time, I'll just actually join a team for this. So if I'm a counter terrorist, generally what you do is you, like most teams set up, one person at port side, one person at arch side, one person either like port side helping this guy to watch apartments, or he's behind truck watching apartments, or he's just in the pit or on the balcony or something like that. So what you want to do is the terrorists are going to do something to take map control. That's the ideal situation for a terrorist, to take map control, because with map control, that's when they're able to do executes and fake strats. You can't do like a full execute as a terrorist and hope it works if you don't know how the counter terrorists are set up, where they're playing, what weapons they have, are they going aggressive or passive, are they stacked to the bomb site. You have no information to work with, so it's like a straight up like gamble. Like it's too much of a high risk, low reward type of play, because you might just be running into a stone wall. And if you just execute straight away, or if you just do a heavy rush, you're basically hoping that the counter terrorists don't react by dropping a smoke right in your face. So a lot of the time, terrorist teams will take map control or mid control specifically by smoking off arch side mid, and then they'll go into some sort of strat where they'll keep mid smoked, and then they'll smoke off pit and everything, and they'll actually attack the bomb site. So if you're an arch side player and you see the smoke here, standing up here does nothing for your team at all. Being here, if you're smoked off, literally does nothing. If you're watching for a terrorist to run through the smoke, you can do it from back here. You can watch a terrorist run through the smoke from back here and kill him. You need to move from this fucking position here all the way down to moto pit, mini pit, instantly to support your teammates, because more times than not, with this smoke up from the terrorists, they want to come and push the site from lane side. So you need to be over here flashing lane side for your teammates and actually assisting them. And let your B player, when this happens, your banana player rotates into CT spawn and he can hold your arch side while you support lane. Instantly. And the same shit. Once they smoke you off at port side, this arch side guy needs to say, you know what? They're about to push me because they smoked my teammate off. I have no support from the crossfire at mid. Instead of giving them the same duel, I'm just gonna get the fuck out of here and forfeit mid, because if I stay up there and try to fight it by myself, I'm fucked. So you fall back and you give them top middle. You cannot hold it by yourself. If you stay up there and you get a 1-for-1, it's not a good trade. Unless you have an op. Like if you have an op, you can sit here, pixel peek, get a shot, and then fall back. That's not a problem. But if you're up close with a rifle by yourself and your teammates unable to support you with a crossfire, it's not good to be up close by yourself. Get the fuck out of there. Rotate over. If your teammate's able to take control of B at the car, especially, like if your teammate's able to get to the car or play an aggressive angle just to spot anyone coming up banana early and get an early warning and rotate off, rotate the banana rotator to arch side. If the guy gets to arch side before anything happens at middle, boom, you could double up mid here and you can play a guy at port side. And you can keep recycling smokes at the top of banana. You can do smokes like this that will go to the choke point of banana, and you just keep that smoked off. And now you have multiple people at top mid. Now if the terrorists want to come up mid and they smoke off your teammate's port side, you have a person here who takes first contact. That means that the terrorist is up completely exposed, and if he wants to fall back, he needs to run from here to here. That's when you can come and you can support it by flying around the corner, or you can do a flash before you peek. There's multiple ways that you can throw flashes before you peek, and you just come out and you just peek like this. Generally speaking, whoever's the A player by a balcony, apartments, or pit, he stays until the bomb is committed and down at banana and it cannot get away. Because you gotta watch out for lurkers coming out from apartments, you have to be watching out for lurkers to come up port side, and you have to be wary of if the terrorists just come here, prod a little bit, get the bomb spotted, and then rotate all the way back to A. You need to be set up in a position where you can control everything. If you're too busy, like if you rotate out of position, and then your teammates are like, wait, they're going back to A, they're going back to A, and you start rotating back here and he's out apartments already or up lane already, you're fucked. The only other way it works is if your teammates already pushed in a position like window room, that's when the pit guy rotates out and this guy just stays here and holds for the fallback. That's the only time you leave pit. The only time. And it's the same shit at banana. This banana guy should never fucking move from banana unless the bomb is actually down and you have control of it. Because if the terrorists have time to pick up the bomb and run back to B, you need to be in B on site side of it. So you don't want to be spawn side where they can just throw a smoke like this, run into the bomb site and plant. You need to be in the fucking bomb site like Trybox, listening for them. Oh, you hear them coming back to B. Once you hear them at this point here, basically you call your teammates, run back to B, they're coming B, they're coming B. Now the terrorists have to run all the way this angle. They need to start clearing all these fucking corners, and then they have to start dealing with you. So your job here, stay alive as long as possible and fight people only when they start pushing you. Okay? When you're staying alive for as long as you can, it's buying your time, it's slowing the enemy down. Now they're worried about you peeking, so they're pushing you slower than normal instead of just jumping at you. And it's giving your teammates more time to rotate from arch side over to the banana bomb site, and if they're smoked off, get through construction before the enemy gets into the bomb site. That's what it's giving you time for. So you just want to stay in aggressive, like listen for information. If you're back here and the terrorists start pushing in, oftentimes you just give up the site. Like there's nothing you can do. You're too far away to listen to them. So the first point of information that you have is when they're already pushed up this close. Like, they're already up this close. They spot you, they're like, okay, well, the rest of the people are probably over at A. Let's flash him and smoke him back, and then let's just push in and plant the bomb. Now they have the bomb plant, and you have to do a retake as opposed to holding the site from Tribox or from Emo. Like, even if you're back here, this is not a bad spot, because you're generally going to get at least 1 kill, and you can try to make it into 2. Being in the fountain, it's not really that sick if the enemy's coming back to B, because you don't have any hiding spot. Once your position's known, you're fucked. Tribox is sick because you let them come in, you kill one, and now you can peek over the right side or you can peek over the left side. And you can just decide which angles you want to take, when you want to take them, how often you want to take them. Do you want to take a fight once every second? Do you want to wait 3 seconds in between fights? Do you want to peek just the right side only and then let them push up all the way on your left and then you fight them? Like, you have so much control over what's going on. Other than that, though, besides like having the anchor in pit, anchor at B, it's mainly this arch side guy who's going to move around, because he's going to be the rotator to B, and he's going to be, and the B rotator is going to be the main rotator towards arch. So arch side is where all the rotations happen from and to. So if there's contact at B and your teammates need help, this guy usually leans towards B. When this happens, you don't want to be by yourself up close mid, because that just means you're in an aim duel, 1 versus 1. There's only like 2 different spots you can be. It's either behind this pillar or it's behind this pillar. You're fighting with the enemy and you have no teammate support to back you up. So what you need to do in this position, when the enemy starts attacking B, one of 2 things. One, your teammate arch side, before he goes, he pop flashes top mid and you take a quick peek to see if anyone's here. If there's no one here, you let the arch side go and you can maintain this aggressive position. Also, smoking this is pretty good. Or you just fuck it off and you give it to them. Or you could double up porch side, so 1 person under this pillar and 1 person watching holes like this, and then you just focus together and just keep layering smokes here while your teammate rotates off to B until it's like committed, like, hey, no, it's actually B right now, get your fucking ass over here. I got a couple of questions via donation. Noggin says, hey, could you show me how you cover B? Usually I jiggle peek banana, I mean the choke point, and drop a smoke at the first contact, and my teammate flashes me out and I molly if they push. Is there a better way? There's so many ways that you can play banana. Like, there's so many ways. It's all down to how your team's setting up and what the enemy likes to do. So if the enemy likes sending a lot of people to take banana control, usually it's really hard to stop it with just 2 people. Unless you have some coordinated takes. So one of the things you could do is you can smoke the bottom of banana, you can do some Molotovs that land in these areas here, and it just completely annihilates banana so that you can take control of it. Usually deep smokes help a lot. Usually smoking in front of the car is pretty powerful if you want to play behind the car or next to the smoke or behind the sandbags. That's pretty powerful, and you just recycle the smoke. But what I find works the best is saving your smoke very late into the round, so that when there is an actual execute at banana, you save your smoke to the very last moment you possibly can save it. And usually the only way that you use your smoke earlier is if the terrorists are actually putting a lot of pressure on you, trying to peek you, and throwing smokes as if they're doing an execute. So the smoke for CT spawn or a smoke for coils like this. So if they do those smokes and start throwing flashes over and Molotovs over, if I'm the B player, my reaction is, okay, smoke the choke point. I have to at this point. I have to throw it. But if I don't see these smokes, I'm not throwing my fucking smoke unless I know for sure they're about to come in. And that's by my teammates peeking down mid and saying, mid's clear and alt mid's clear. They're about to go B. That's when I say, you know what, I'm throwing my fucking smoke. Someone rotate over to B right now. And then my teammate can re-smoke it when he gets there. Simple as that. Usually though, I mean, there's so many spots you can play from. I like Tribox the most because I feel it's the most versatile position. Angling out from site isn't too bad if you have a teammate angling out from spawn at the same time. Behind coils isn't too bad, letting the terrorists run into the site and then killing them from over here as they're crossing the site. Fountain isn't a terrible position, but it's very risky. Like, you need to have a really good shot for it. It's mainly crossfires though, so you have 1 guy emo, 1 guy Tribox, that's a good crossfire setup. 1 guy Tribox, 1 guy spools, that's a good crossfire. 1 guy oranges, 1 guy spools, that's a good one guy oranges, one guy tri-box rather. That's good. You don't really want to have one spawn, one spools though, because this is the rotator position. And if this guy gets smoked off here, and they get smoked off spawn, you have nobody in the bomb site right now to actually do anything and stop the terrorists from doing anything. Because this is where counter-terrorists rotate to, and this is where counter-terrorists... Once this smoke comes here, this counter-terrorist rotates to spools. So you can't have the site guy playing spools and the spawn guy playing, because the spawn guy is going to rotate exactly where the spool guy is. Now you have two people in the same spot doing absolutely nothing. So this is a situation you don't want to get yourself into. But there's so many ways you can actually play it. Faded 480 says, how do you like to find out if it's better to play aggressive or passive? Do you just take a few rounds to get the groove, or what? Thanks for the info, it helps. So if you want to learn, like, aggressive play isn't bad. You just need to know when you can do it and when you should do it. So aggressive play works if you've been playing passively and the enemy is catching on that you're playing passively and they're caught off guard. So if you just do a random aggressive push, if you're generally playing passive, that works really well. Other times aggressive play works is if you do it together as a team. If you push together, let's say you do some smoke down the bottom of banana and push 3 people B. That's good because you're playing together and you're playing for the trade kills and you're there, you're not really by yourself. And if you lose your aim duel, you have your teammates there to mop up, get the kills, get the information. Are the terrorists... Like, if you do a 3-man B push, and there's only one terrorist here, you get the kill, you get the information, and you run back to A. If there are multiple terrorists here, you come here and you just brawl out and try to win the trades. You know that their teammates are smoked off, you throw your nades and pre-flashes, they should be blind and you should get the free kills on them. You know, sometimes it gets messy, sometimes it doesn't. If there are no terrorists here, you say, fuck it, we have banana control, you leave one guy here and you rotate everyone back to A. And at this point, your teammates are just smoking off top mid like this and just holding it together. One from porch, one from like right here, just holding and then peeking after a flash or something like that. Shit like that. Aggressive works also if you have a good spawn for it, or if you have an opera. So an opera can get to this car here. That's a good aggressive play. An opera can come to middle and either hold this angle here. That's a good play. Hold this angle, like get to here and peek that. You can hold this angle into alt mid, or you can get a guy who's peeking window room or down the stairs. These are all good aggressive angles and plays that you can make, where you still have the ability to take a fight from a random angle and fall back into a defensive position. It's not bad to play aggressively. You just need to know if you're not making those plays, you're not hitting the shots you need to hit, you need to start playing more based off of the map dynamics, which is choke points. Hold the choke points and play different angles. When you're a CT and you're alone at a site and the Ts are making an execution, when's the right time to take a fight against them? You're alone at a site and the Ts are making an execution, when's the right time to take a fight against them? Again, what you want to do is you want them to commit themselves to being like as close as possible. So that means you don't want to come out here and you don't want to fight a guy who's behind this wall or behind this wall, and you don't want to peek out at them. When you peek out at the enemy, you expose yourself. What you want to do is you want the enemy to expose themselves. You want them to push you. If you sit back here and the terrorists don't push you, how are you going to die? You can't die. They have to start mauling you and throwing grenades at you. That's the only way they're going to be able to kill you. If you just sit here, they have to push you, okay? That's the thing. That's the key thing. You cannot die if they do not push you. So that's what you want to keep in the back of your mind at all times. If you don't peek, you cannot die. That gives your teammates time to rotate. Take the angles and peek them when they're exposed. So when they're pushing you up here, that's when they're exposed. When they're wrapping around the site like this, that's when they're exposed. Because they're not just focused on you. They're worried about your teammates being in one of these positions as well. Especially if they don't know where you are. If they don't know where you are, it makes it even better. But they're scared of your teammates peeking at them from all these different angles all at the same time while they're pushing to you. And then you control the peeks. You hear, you listen to them close, you peek out and you start spam like that. You peek out and you start shooting them like this and pre-firing. This is as far as you go. Same thing at emo. You hold this angle, you kill one guy pushing up, you try to get back here and you just like fight people who are pushing you, because as they're pushing up to you, that's when your teammates start shooting them in the back. Same thing over at A. At A, you don't want to. So if you're an A player and you're playing in the pit, you don't want to start fighting them if they're like at this angle here, type of thing. Because if they're here and they start getting a good shot on you, it's game over. Like, that's it. But if you let them start coming up and they're jumping on the truck like this, trying to kill you in the pit or something, that's when your teammates in sight are just getting free shots on them, just shooting them in the back and getting free kills on them. So that's what you want to do as a CT play. You want to force the terrorists to come in the most fucking awful position ever, where they're exposed to everything, and then your teammates can support you and actually get the trade kills or the crossfires on them. Where do you play until they execute? If you're at quad box or emo, they can boost logs and kill you. You can play a little bit more aggressive. You can play on the box. You can play double peeking, like in and out like this. Generally speaking, though, like I'll usually sit at this angle where I can't get shot from logs, and then I'll start waiting for the people to walk in, because if they walk in, like, they usually get to this point before they actually have to worry about spawn and smoke off spawn. Like, people don't usually just walk across here, so I'll sit at this angle, and then if I see smokes and shit coming, that's when I'll throw a flash into pool, and then like I can peek out, shit like that, and then throw smoke at the choke point and start fucking shit up. A lot of the time, though, I like taking banana control, and then they need to first take me off of banana, and then I start falling back, and I'm listening from up close like this. And then if they start throwing shit over top, I just throw a smoke down at them, and then I fall back to the try box, and I flash, and I let my teammates get close, and I just slow them down, or get a kill as they're pushing in, type of thing. These tutorial type streams are the tits. Thanks for the pro tips, bruh. How often do you do this shit? Every now and then. I want to start doing them more often. I want to get a video series going, but I'll save T-Side Inferno for another time.